Yeah.
I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won.
Yeah.
I hope my team they won.
Yeah. Man.
I hope my team they won.
Yeah.
I hope my team they won.
Yeah.
I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I want to say a happy Juneteenth, Freedom's Day, June 19th. For all those out there, and as you say, the struggle is never ending process. Freedom is not given, is never really won. You earn it, and when it is given to the next generation. With that being said, I'm back in Deuce's studio. As we were off today, I did have a event on campus that I was able to get to where we did do some acknowledgments of Juneteenth with Texas Southern University. That being said, welcome to episode 674 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small. From the NEIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. Quite simply, we call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host today is none other than Charles Bishop and AD Drew. Mike is still out on assignment. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to Caseway 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, I should say, in the home of Texas Southern University with Ralph Cooper. With that being said, let me get straight to these gentlemen. Charles, how are you doing today?
Doing well. You kind of threw me off with the backdrop there. I'm glad you told me you were in Deuce's studio there.
Yeah, Deuce got his own studio. It's a little different from mine, but he allows me to use it today. Lost a little dollar for that, though. He's up to these negotiations now. He kind of figured this thing out. So, yeah, little change. And really, he likes the flat dollar bill sign, so it's not even change anymore. And then he has this weird way to negotiate, and he added in some ice cream. I said,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, you got to do what works. AD Drew, how you doing today?
We need to officially name that Studio B, Dr. Cavil.
Right.
I like it.
Or Studio D for Deuce.
Yeah. I like it even better. We certainly will probably start adding that to the vernacular. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THD Agency. THD Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, let's get to it. What's on your mind today, Juneteenth? Anything in terms of the HBCU sports culture has you thinking twice? What's on your mind, Charles?
Let's take a look at this trio of top SWAC baseball players. They were able to showcase their skills in front of professional scouts. Among the nation's top college and high school baseball players is Alabama State infielder Warren Cruz, Florida A&M catcher Brody Papa, and Cardell Thibodeau were three of 322 draft eligible players invited to the 2025 MLB Draft Combine this week. So kudos to those guys for getting in front of the Major League Scouts. So that's pretty cool.
I'm glad you brought that up. Deuce has been waking up in the morning, coming home after, I guess it's not traditional school, but camp. I'll say that. They're at Texas Southern University. While he's tired coming out of camp, what I really like because he's sleeping in the car. You know, it's Houston, Charles, AD Drew. You can relate to this.
You can get some good nap.
Yeah, it takes you 30, 40.
That's in rush hour.
So for a young person, they can get a really good nap. So he's getting that in. But he comes back and he's watching. He passed. He has the voice command. So MLB Network. And so he's watching the draft combine. He has these questions. So it's pretty cool to see him go through that and talk about that. He can't wait. He sees baseball. He asks for the baseball games. He knows who's playing, how late Dodgers are playing, whether he's going to get a couple of innings with Ohtani to see how he's doing. He's
That's pretty cool.
In terms of the numbers. He said, Daddy struck out. He's watching the College World Series. He said, man, can you believe Coastal Carolina, they deep in the playoffs? He said, who won, LSU, Arkansas? I said, man, the dude dropped the ball in outfield. He's like, oh.
Did he catch the no-hitter the other day?
I
Yeah,
know.
he talked about the no-hitter. He said, hey, I came out the room. I didn't watch it. He told me, hey, you a no-hitter. I said, who? He said, Coastal Carolina do the no-hitter. I forgot who it was, actually.
It was Arkansas.
Yeah. And so he mentioned that. And so he was all into it. And so I was like, okay, good deal. Excited. For showing doing 90 in the night. Gave me Studio D today.
Oh, yeah, I know. Studio Deuce.
Well, I'm going right on my own campus for the news of the day, Dr. Cavil.
Good deal.
Morehouse College is proud to announce that junior shortstop Elijah Pinckney has made history as the first NCAA Division II player ever selected to participate in the prestigious 2025 HBCU Swingman Classic. Pinckney earned his spot among 50 elite HBCU athletes following a phenomenal season with the Maroon Tigers. Some of his stats: 407 batting average, that was 50 hits and 123 at bats, a 5.99 on base percentage, 51 walks and 11 hit by pitches. He had more walks than he had hits, everybody, just so you could get that number correct. 618 slugging percentage and an OPS of 1.217, 58 runs scored, including 7 doubles, 2 triples, 5 round trippers, and 34 RBIs and 76 total bases. 26 stolen bases in 29 attempts. Struck out, and Deuce will love this one, Dr. Cavil. He only struck out 10 times all season, Dr. Cavil. Oh, yeah. And he's got the glove, too, with a 9.82 field percentage in 167 chances, turning 20 double plays. Said Coach Antonio Grissom, Elijah is the kind of player every coach dreams of having. His work ethic, skill set, and leadership define what it means to be a Maroon Tiger. Said athletic director Harold Ellis, Elijah's selection not only honors his individual excellence, but also elevates our program's visibility on a national HBCU scale. We're proud to break new ground for Division II athletes. And said Commissioner Anthony Holloman, Dr. Anthony Holloman, I want to congratulate Elijah for being the first HBCU player selected to participate in the HBCU Swingman Classic. He's a great representation of Morehouse College. His selection is a testament to hard work and dedication that have been a foundation for his success on and off of the diamond.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Shout out to Morehouse. Elijah getting it done. That's a big deal. Anytime you get a chance to be one of the first or the first, with superlatives like that, you're doing something right. So shout out to the young man getting it done. Want to go off the script. You know, all the time we like to talk about business, particularly during the summer months. We get to jump a little bit into it. This is business for Byron Allen in terms of McDonald's suit, $10 billion settlement. That doesn't necessarily mean that he got all $10 billion. But obviously, with him owning HBCU Go as the lead person, is certainly a friend of mine in terms of Curtis Simons. But I'd imagine that this shouldn't hurt the business platform. But just want to get maybe your general thoughts in terms of how he's been successful in terms of calling some of these major corporations in terms of some of their strategies or things that they're not doing legally right in terms of discrimination. So as it goes, you may have heard media mogul Byron Allen, a key figure in the Black-owned media, has reached a settlement in his $10 million racial discrimination lawsuit against McDonald's. The case, which spanned several years, brought national attention to disparities in advertising spend directly towards media platforms owned by African Americans and serving HBCU audience in particular. The lawsuit first filed in 2021, which is always amazing how long these lawsuits oftentimes can last. It's 2025. Claimed that McDonald's discriminated by placing Black-owned media in lower-tier advertising categories. We talked about this in terms of corporations having budgets, and you seek to get advertising budgets. People oftentimes have talked about the fact that they may be getting into the diversity budget, which is a much smaller level versus the advertising budgets, which allows you to get more. And that's essentially what is he saying here, that they were purposely pushing folks to go into the diversity until the people necessarily looking and getting it. These campaigns came with smaller budgets and less visibility. Allen also pointed out that McDonald's had failed to meet its 2021 pledge, where the company came out and had promised to increase its national ad spend with Black-owned media from 2% to 5% by 2024. He said that did not happen. Although the settlement terms are confidential, obviously the resolution includes the dismissal of an additional $100 million suit Allen filed in California. His legal team said the agreement reflects a renewed commitment by McDonald's to invest in diverse media platforms. So the question I kind of have for you all, the opine, is about Black-owned medias, particularly those that cover HBCU sports. How could this potentially help in that space? Or do you see it as even being able to help in that space? Going with you, Drew.
You would start with me, and I have to choose my words carefully when I go through this. Byron, kudos to you for doing what you did. Number one, you had the kahunas to take on the big boy. You had the checkbook to be able to take on the big boy, which is important, especially a 4-year civil suit. Most of us, we know we've been wrong. We know we have legal grounds to be able to take action against somebody, but we tend to not have the financial backing that we need, especially for something that we need to draw out for 4 years before we're even able to settle it. So shout out to you, Byron. Now, Byron, you got this win for HBCU media. Now it's time to get with other HBCU media and pay it forward. Pass it down, contract with some of the smaller HBCU media who don't have the level that you have, don't have the cachet, but have the experience, the equipment, and the knowledge to do it. You know, feed them. You went to the grocery store, you bought the groceries, and you cooked the meal. Now you need to invite some other people to the table so that they can partake in some of this. So I hope this is a win for all of us. I hope this is I hate to use the word trickle down, but I hope some of this trickles down to other entities. And I'll throw one up here, Black College Sports Network. You know, we take trickle downs over here at Black College Sports Network, but I just hope that
absolutely
this doesn't shut. You don't take this and shut everybody in. So I got me mine. You go get yours.
Great point. Well said in a lot of ways. Charles, similar framework, but ask you from the HBCU side, do you see that it may help HBCUs in terms of being able to get more ad dollars or more exposure or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the exposure, like you said, you've had the ability to go win a tremendous lawsuit that can undoubtedly help the HBCU brand. And we all know how much HBCUs rely on the media exposure for recruitment and this, that, and the other. So I think this is a huge win. But I think AD, you brought up something I hadn't I'm not sure I would have framed it in the same manner, but I'm glad you framed it in that manner because you hit the nail on the head. You hope that there is some trickle down to all of us in terms of the exposure that we try to provide HBCUs, and sometimes that can be a bit difficult. So, but I appreciate you throwing that dart on the dartboard there.
Good stuff.
I
will add this to your part as the article HBCU Gamer talks about it. Impact of HBCUs and media visibility. The decision could have, to both of y'all's point, have a major effect on historically Black college university HBCUs. Many of these schools rely on media exposure for their athletic programs, recruitment efforts, and cultural promotion. Allen Media Group owns HBCU Go, a streaming service that features HBCU sports and events. With more ad dollars coming in, coverage of these schools could grow significantly, to your point. Strengthening HBCU storytelling through media. Further, Allen's digital outlet, The Trio, consistently covers HBCU stories. This includes SWAC football, CIAA basketball, and standout athletes from Black colleges. It also features student-led initiatives and alumni achievement. As more advertising flows to Black-owned media, HBCU stories are likely to receive increased national coverage. And hopefully you can do more studies. To do these studies to the point that Drew talked about, whether you're talking about the HBCU schools themselves in their journalism or communication classes or other Black media, particularly those that cover HBCUs, to find ways to partner with them or provide, whether that's doing additional stories that they could do or coverage that you want to have for maybe even some of the Olympic sports, if not the big ones, should be interesting and follow. But good point there. Both of y'all wanted to get that on the table from a business perspective because I think it's important that we see the entire landscape as we talked about. Let's take our first break, come back on the other side. It's time to unveil ADs, VPs of athletics, the top list. We're going to go with the top seven. Top seven in terms of that. It was so close for that 6 and 7 spot. I decided to expand it to the top 7 Division I ADs, VPs of athletics. We'll be right back after this first break. And on the other side, we'll release it and see what these gentlemen think.
There's a shot.
That might be.
It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you, guys, for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. All you guys at BCSN, we really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Football fans. fans. HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern, Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and AD Drew. With that being said, we're going to get into this top 7 ADs and VPs list directly. As we get into it, I do want to point out that this is metrics. It's similar to those that may have followed the Sears Cup. It looks at the overall athletic programs in terms of wins. We measure those championships, obviously, with football, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and softball as larger points in terms of the magnitude they have. We also look at track and field championships, all sports trophy awards, where you range in that. We have a metrics that looks at new facility updates, fundraising that you are doing, those that put the information out there, but updates that you're doing to your athletic facilities, those natures on there. And then there's a calculation measure that looks at your overall budget based on where you finish and the number of championships, that does a calculation that is built in there as well. So you'll see some points awarded based on those metrics as they all add up and divided to the number percentage of sports to give you a point ranking here. With that, let's go to the first one. Top 7. At number 7, I like to see that everyone's noticed the 7 there in terms of what that looks like. So we have Dr. Travion Scott, Grambling State Tigers. He was previously ranked 5 last year. This is our 3rd iteration of that. So you'll see us look at the previous year for those that may have been ranked in there, or if not, we'll point that as well. 69.29 in terms of Dr. Travion Scott as he makes that top 7. We were previously had 6 last year, but I decided to add in number 7 because it was so close to the ranking of number 6. So at number 6, we have Dr. Lewis Skip Perkins at North Carolina Central. He was not ranked in the top 6 last year, top 5 the year before that either. He is at 69.32. So you see how close the variability was in terms of total points. Dr. Travion Scott at 7 at 69.29, and then 69.32 for Dr. Lewis Perkins. Let's get into those top 5. Shout out to none other than one of our friends of the show, big time North Carolina Central fan over there. We can give him a little love in terms of, I wonder what he's thinking when you talk about Joshua Sims, Sr. Talking about Joshua Sims, and we got BJ Jones. I wonder how excited about that. I know they have some concerns, but in terms of the numbers, Roman Banks is top 5. I'll probably get beat up just for that. Southern Jaguars. He was not ranked the last 2 years, but he's found a way to jump into the top rankings. Not only that, he's in at number 5, 73.37 in terms of the points he puts on the table. Bringing us to number 4, you have Kerry Davis, Howard Bison. He was ranked number 1 last year, where they set it on fire, took home the number 1 ranking last year. Falls a couple of spots this year. Howard still had a good season, but did not get some of those star points that he got for making his championship in football a couple of years ago, and then obviously winning some championships in basketball. Still getting it done a lot of ways in women's sports, those Olympic sports, really doing well. That puts him in at number 4, 88.59 point total. Bringing us number 3, Cherie's Not Dead, one of the women that are getting it done. She's getting it done tremendously, all the way up to number 3, stays in that number 3 spot. can get it done with Michael Vick. Look out. And that's Dr. Melody Webb, as she's earned her doctorate now. Norfolk State Spartans is number 3, 89.41. She's had really outstanding programs in terms of all sports awards. Obviously, you've seen what they've done in basketball, men's and women's, and other sports as well. And now they make the big move with the football hire. So it'll be fascinating to say what it does with that. The other thing that I think is fascinating that you really need to acknowledge Dr. Melody Webb is she has been able to find a way through whatever mechanisms, including the politics, if you allow me to use that framework, in paying coaches the market, above the market in some cases, but what's necessary to keep coaches and bring a big name coach in. So women's basketball coaches have had some significant salaries. We see that with on men's side, certainly deserves it in terms of the attention that is brought into the institution. Now with football as well, has increased ticket sales that are supposed to be going really well, including a price increase on that. So she's used that money and negotiated being able to give folks some significant salaries. So shout out to Dr. Melody Webb. Bring us to number 2. Dr. Jason Cavil, Alabama State Hornets, previous number 4. He jumps right back into top of it. He's been really close. Last 3 years, he's been in that top 2-3 rankings, 90.68. I will say this, he just missed out on the number 1 spot, doing it all the way. That men's basketball championship really pushed him up level. Anything getting a deeper runs in the football, if he can turn that a little bit in football, watch out for Dr. Jason Cavil as well. What you see out of the 7, well, I should say out of the 6 of the 7, 4 of them have doctorates. I like that. Education, stands out. And with that being said, A.D. Banks needs this. No doubt everyone support.
Splash that out there.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not all that bad.
Right. Let these folks know.
Exactly. Well, number 1 shouldn't surprise anyone. Ashley has been recognized not just by us, as we recognized in the first year. Was just outside of it, number 2 last year, so very consistent. Brought in a football championship after coaching moves. Men's teams played for a championship when people didn't see it. Women's team was very successful. Olympic sports, all sports trophy in one area, just fell outside of Alabama State getting all sports. When you do that, and these top 4 folks have been able to show in terms of their program, winning all sports trophy for the MEAC and SWAC, respectively, for men's and women's in a lot of areas. And Dr. Jason Cavil obviously got it done all the way around in terms of, but Ashley moves back to number 1. Ashley Robinson, Jackson State Tigers athletic program, earns the top spot, just edging out Dr. Jason Cavil, 91.32. Too bad we couldn't release this before the SWAC and MEAC spring conferences, because it may have been some extra talking points, but I'm sure that they'll probably text and call around and let folks know in regards to this is for HBCUs. Obviously, anytime you recognize with your peers or any level, you get up there. Well done for all these individuals. In a lot of ways, they're getting it done, but these are the top of the top. And Ashley Robinson gets it done for Jackson State Tigers, moving from that 2 spot last year to the number 1 spot. So 2 of 3 years, he's getting it done. I'm sure he's going to try to make it back to back. But I believe Dr. Jason Cavil, Dr. Melody Webb, Kerry Davis, Roman Banks, Dr. Lewis Skip Perkins, and Dr. Travion Scott will have something to say about that, while some others out there are seeing to make some moves, talking about what's going on in different other places. We'll see what that looks like. I'm going to go to you first, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of the unveiling of the top 80 VPs of athletics across the board?
Very strong group. That's, I think, the thing that jumps out for me. Very good representation, SWAC and MEAC, in terms of looking at Dr. Skip Perkins in there, Kerry Davis in there, Melody Webb in there. But this is a very dynamic group. And I think the thing that I talk about for me that jumps out for me is the health of the program. Just win, baby. So these are all programs that we've seen in the upper echelon of their respective conferences. And these are programs that we've seen they've won in multiple sports. So I think those are things that really jump out with me for this very impressive group.
Thank you for those comments, and I appreciate that, and it makes a lot of sense. AD Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of the ranking?
I look at this list, Dr. Cavil, and when you take the revenue sports, you look up and down this list, like Charles said, you see a championship on just in their respective conference, either regular season, tournament, championship for all these coaches. And I see a couple of non-revenue championships. But it's not just about championships, Dr. Cavil.
True.
I'm glad you did. We were able to get a female on this top 7, because maybe not at the Division I level, but at the Division II level. And I hope we get these metrics down to the Division II level, because I would love to see a Division II ranking of this. But a lot of the athletic directors in the CIAA and the SIAC are female now. So I'm glad to see that. I can't say the E word, so I'm glad to say the proper representation. Y'all know what the E word is, equity. But I'm glad to see proper representation. I don't know what you was thinking about, Charles. I said E word, Charles. E.
Hey, if you've been watching the news lately, you just get a real joke out of that. So, but we had 47 talk about E yesterday. So,
but I will say this: of all these people on the list, Dr. Cavil,
yes,
if what Dr. Webb did in Norfolk with her hiring pattern this season, I think she is set up for success and to move up next season based upon how she closed this season out, Dr. Cavil. So I know we looking to have some guests, but Ashley, you better watch out. That woman coming to get you, man.
I like it. Let's take a second break and come back on the other side and see what we get into and see if we can get some extra conversation with that.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern, Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We were trying to get Ashley. Let's see if we can bring him in. He had to step back in. We had called him at the last minute and gave him up there. They're actually doing a meeting with the president. So he tried to step out. He was going to join us and give some words of acknowledgement for the word, but I think he had to jump back in. So we'll keep a look on it, see if he's able to sneak out for that. But with that being said, while we're checking to see what that looks like, I want to again give congratulations to the Vice President of Athletics with Ashley Robinson at Jackson State University. But like many of these individuals, so busy, they on call. Even on Juneteenth, oftentimes things go down like that. So I want to give a shout out to think about that. G. Boone says he thinks Dr. Cavil should be number one. Dr. Cavil was pretty good, but it's something about it. You get that championship with all the television ABCs. ABC. I'm talking about sound like Jackson 5 with the ABCs 1, 2, 3s. But in terms of getting it done, and since we got that up there, talk a little bit about that. How do you see the value of not just winning a football championship, but now you get a chance to win the cricket Celebration Bowl? In terms of Atlanta, was pitched the two champions of the respective Division I conference. Obviously, it's our Western Athletic Conference, the MEAC. It comes along with over $1 million that goes back to your coffers, 70-80% of that. So it's a huge payday for that athletic department. Or basketball championship in terms of what that looks like. Then my second part of that question is, imagine if you can do the daily double. But go ahead, Charles.
No, I was about to say enlighten us on the point system, because that's not a us question. That's a question that we try to throw back in your direction. Like, okay, what differentiates Dr. Cavil from Ashley Robinson in terms of what was the point differential there? I think you brought out a really good one in terms of, do you kind of get a leg up on the competition with regards to winning the Celebration Bowl, or is there a sort of an evening out, for winning your respective conference championships?
And can I throw something else in there? It's not like Alabama State didn't win one of the what we consider the three revenue sports, with them winning basketball this past year, winning the SWAC basketball tournament. So.
Okay. Let me give you the points. I was just connecting. See that in regards to Ashley trying to connect and see what's going on there. But the point differential, to your point, was 90.68 to 91.32. So it was really close.
Yeah.
In terms of what that looks like in terms of the overall points. To be exact, when you talk about that, let me just give the math for everybody so you can see the actual difference in what that was when you talk about that point differential. Was less than a point. It was 0.64. Just how close it was. But both of them, to your point, won significant championships in terms of the financial side of it.
Yeah.
We measure actually conference championship point differential, so you get that, which is high. Men's and women's basketball, because we want to be able to show the importance of women's basketball, particularly now that you get financial rewards for making the tournament for women's basketball. Obviously not anywhere close to what's men's are. But and then you have basketball and softball. Softball's up there. But what's unique with football is you get a conference championship, right? But you also get a chance to win a national championship, essentially, or at the very least, a bowl championship.
Mm-hmm.
You get some of that in men's basketball if you go to the first four. It's not ranked as high because of the nature. It's not a champion on champion. So you get some nature for that in regards to winning that first four, which bumped up Jason even closer. But really a lot of the edge in this calculation based on the fact that Cavil had an all sports award. So he got that, but he also got the men's side of that. But then you had Ashley. They got the women's side of that. So the spread there was even close when you talk about all those. Same thing with Melody Webb. She took it on the women's side of there. I mean, on the men's side, but Carrie Davis got it on the women's side for the all sports in the conference. And they don't do a cumulative all sports. They just do the two components. But we do a total calculation to see who would have been all champions in terms of what that looks like. So that's huge when you talk about that component of how it calculates out. So all those things are very important about those measures. And there's points. So just like you do the calculation in track and field where you start with the highest amount of points and then you succeed in terms of where you fall on those champions, you get points for that, but they decrease as you fall down the ladder. I'm going to go to you, Drew, and then come back to you, Charles, for a follow-up.
How much does the non-athletic stuff factor into this? You know, the fundraising, the facilities, you know, the stuff. We see the championships. You know, that's very quantifiable. But some of the other things that the average person can't quantify, you know, how they're doing with their fundraising, how they're doing as far as those capital type projects, things like that, even down to coaches' retention. And one other thing I noticed about your list, and I didn't bring it up in the first segment, but longevity. All those athletic directors that were in their top 7 have a sense of longevity at their institution. 4, 5, or more years at their institution. And I think that might be something that, you know, I'm not sure if that's a metric that you measure, but it has to factor for something with their success.
When you look at that, to your point, percentage-wise, it's like 20%. I don't want to give the exact amount because of the calculations are private there, but it's around that. But more importantly, it does have a weighted component where we look at your overall revenue budget and then do a calculation in terms of the amount of championships you're able to get and where you finish in terms of setting, which gives me a point component where I added into the point ranking. But that is very significant when we want to look at the importance of what are you doing financially? What type of revenue you bringing in? Some schools do a better job of sharing that information, some don't. But we're still also able to look at what are you able to build in. Did you get a new scoreboard for a facility on campus? Did you do padding for a facility that helps provide safety or does some additional marketing on it? Did you get a new field for your facility in terms of your matrix? And it could be any of them: football field, baseball field. Prairie View, while they were in the middle of some championships last year, they got a lot of point systems in there to upgrades they did in terms of baseball and softball. With that being said, so those are some things that are looking at there. Do we have Ashley, or are you just saying? Oh yeah, all right. Let's bring him in, then we'll go back to you, Charles.
Okay.
Let's get him in there. I see you on mute there. Come on in. Won't hold him long. I think he's in there trying to take care of some business there, and he seemed like he said 1 second there. So I'll go back to that component, see if we can bring him back in. But you see, Ashley is actually working, coming out of some meetings, but he's doing his best to get him in there, and we'll see if we can get him in there. I think we got him now, real quick. We won't hold him too long because his services are needed, I guess, as he's doing the championship things over there at the Jackson State University. If you will, we see you on mute. See if you can unmute, and we'll let you be able to say a couple of words, and we'll let you get back to it.
Dr. Cavil, how y'all doing today, man? Y'all doing all right?
I like the smile. You must understand that you won. Somebody must have got the word to you that you won.
I mean, I got the word, man. I heard Drew.
Go ahead.
I heard Drew saying people coming for me, man. I just heard a lot of comments on that, man. But you know what, hey, Drew, you know what, Drew? It's been like that all my life, man. But first of all, I want to say thank you, man. I appreciate this award. This is huge, man. Dr. Cavil, Drew, my faithful alumni. I love what you all are doing, man. Not only just for Jackson State, but what you're doing for HBCUs as a whole. And that's what it's all about, man. It's all about supporting us, showing people it can be done. Just remember, Drew, my goal is to show people it can be done at HBCUs. And we're going to continue to build on tradition and blaze new trails at Jackson State. You know, on behalf of our president, Dr. Gregory, on behalf of the university, on behalf of our alumni, on behalf of our coaches, and on behalf of the best student athletes in the country, man, I want to say thank you.
Man, folks out here supporting you. Again, we just want to say congratulations. We'll let you get the last word in regards to what went in to putting your program in a position to get so many championships this year and finish at the top in so many sports. Even if they didn't, they were playing in championship games. They were at the top. Talk about what does it look like and what do you think about when you're looking at coaches or putting in them positions to be successful?
I mean, you know, I had my event Monday, Dr. Cavil, and we talked about money. And my speech was, "What's your purpose?" You know, you when you wake up in the morning, you ask yourself, "What's your purpose? Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? When you show up at your job every day, what's your purpose?" And, you know, my purpose is to support my coaches and our student athletes and give them what they need to be successful. And my purpose is to grow Jackson State University. I feel like as a vice president, as a director of athletics, my goal is to make sure you increase volume and increase the exposure for Jackson State University as a whole. And it's not just about athletics, it's about the university as a whole and increase exposure for HBCUs. So we want to continue to show people it can be done. We want to continue to show people the great things that we do at HBCUs, the great things that we do at Jackson State University. And as you saw, you know, a day or so, Commissioner just announced that we all opt in as a conference. I think that's huge. That shows our commitment. That shows the commitment from our Commissioner McCullough, who's done a great job. And it shows the leadership of the conference and where we're going and where we're trying to go. And that's exciting. So we're going to continue to build on this tradition and blaze new trails at Jackson State University. But Drew, I want to tell you, she got a lot of work to do to come get me, Drew. A whole lot of work to do.
Why he keep singling me out, man? It's something about y'all. Is it because I graduated from FAM? Is that why you singling me out, Doc?
Hey, just remember, Drew, you know, it's only one Deion Sanders. That's all I'm going to say. It's only one.
Wait. I guarantee you, Melly Webb say you may have your Deion, but we got our Vic.
It's only one, Drew.
Oh, this is good. You can't get this anywhere else. I will say this. I appreciate you also allowing some fans, I guess I'll say myself, I think Mike joined me to be in the transfer portal and get a little taste of that Celebration Bowl with Coach T.C. Taylor. We appreciate it.
Hey.
I'm back in the transfer portal, though. It's another season. We're going to see how it goes.
That's right. And give it out to Coach.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, he's frozen there. That's fine. We're going to take this next break. We got a lot of that, and obviously hate that we didn't get that final word from Ashley because you know he's going to give us some more stuff to put out there. With that,
you know he's going to go back and watch this anyway, Dr.
Exactly. Let's take this last break.
When he go back and watch, tell him Travis better put this out in the Travis better put this award out there for us. Oh.
Yeah. I'm sure if anybody will, Travis is a good one of the best in the business out there in terms of that. So I'm sure he will do what's necessary. With that being said, let's take a last break. Come back on the other side. Charles, we'll let you get your following question in. Now I want to talk a little bit about Juneteenth, as I had a chance to do a presentation yesterday. I'll give a couple of clips. We won't go through the whole thing, obviously, because time is important. But I wanted to tease it out. I thought it was the appropriate time to do it on Juneteenth. So let's take a last break, come back on the other side, and we'll do just that.
I'm returning to Clinton Parish, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Parish, we take the pain out of being heard.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and AD Drew, and exactly right. As sometimes we text in between the show to make sure we stay on top of it. And I agree with you 100%. Great dialogue there. And I appreciate you bringing that to the Sports Lab. Charles, as a promise, I wanted to give you a chance to get in the discussion you had. It was important that you put that on the table.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask about, in terms of the rankings, was there an intangible? Was there a sort of metric that you could slide in there that many of us might not see, and it might be something like community engagement or visibility, especially with these various HBCU platforms? Is there an intangible that you use within the calculation that, or if that's a potential something going forward?
No, there is one in there that looks at accessibility, which kind of covers all that.
Yeah.
Some ADs are a little more comfortable about being accessible. That's to their alumni. I would like to say just as importantly, to the media spaces out there, folks that you can call and they're not unashamed to push their institution. And some of that is directly. Some of these things, I guess, for whatever reason, can't always get out there. But I get a lot of ADs that will text me updates, beyond what they're putting out in the media. And some of it is just because of the way they want to do it. And I certainly understand it. But they let me know, because I think these things are important when they're doing updates, what is coming. Sometimes they'll let me know that it's a little time lagging, but it's coming. So I can get an update. And then when it's time to release it, we'll talk about it on the show. But oftentimes I get the heads up. Then I also get some of the backgrounds in terms of how they have to navigate the space, where they're employed at, in terms of the support they get. And they share that, which is intangible, because they had ability to navigate that in a positive way and make that support go in a longer direction. So I get some of that, and some of the challenges, obviously. It's not much of that, but they'll let me know what that looks like and how they are, more importantly, overcoming those challenges and directions. So yeah, that's probably the one thing that I quantify that's not readily available for a lot of people to necessarily see. Your accessibility of going on social media, going to the media, being somebody that can talk about the program in a way where it's above than just talking to your alumni. It's about getting to the masses in a way where everybody's receiving it now. Go ahead, Drew.
One last question. I noticed this year 6 of your 7 were public institutions. Is there an inherent advantage in your scale being a public institution versus a private institution? Although we know a private institution did win it last year in Howard. So, but just in general, is even go thinking back to last year's rankings outside of Howard, everybody was a public institution. So, is there inherent advantage with your scale being a public institution?
I don't know about the scale, but I think you're right. There's inherent advantage in terms of being a public institution from the side that oftentimes your public institutions generally are going to be larger in terms of their enrollment. And if they're large in terms of enrollment, it's easier for them to buffer that budget based on that enrollment for their students, which is another thing that's embedded in those numbers. You often see that your larger enrollment institutions tend to be on the list as well, and they happen to be public. So yes, to your correlation of what that looks like, I believe that there is some inherent things within the framework institution. The other thing is there's just not many at the Division I level.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Bethune-Cookman,
So the D2,
Hampton,
D2,
which is interesting because it's quasi, it's really federal. So in some ways, it's public. It is able to brand itself and charge prices as if it's private, but it kind of falls in there. And a lot of times, because of that, we mark them as private. But if you really look at it, because of the federal funds they get, in many ways, you can consider them almost a public institution. But that's another discussion. And then the other one out there is obviously Hampton. So essentially, you only have 2, maybe 3, depending on how you
Bethune.
That's what I said, Bethune first,
yeah,
which is the only, oddly enough, just talking about Bethune, it's the only private baseball program out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have Hampton and you have Howard. Right. So you have 3 of the 23 institutions. So to your point, I think there is some components of that in there. So I'm glad you brought that up as well when we get in these discussions, because it's so important when you're starting to take these deeper dives and look at who is putting in the work and being able to overcome all these things. That's some fascinating things about that in that space, about understanding a deeper dive in the data. Last thing I wanted to do as we start to close up, if you would, Drew, bring up, I had a chance to do a presentation. Well, I was invited in to talk about Juneteenth. And obviously my expertise does cross in terms of African-American and Black history. I look at it from a global perspective. So I tend to talk about the diasporic component of African people around the world. But you know that a lot of my research is in HBCUs from the sporting component. So I got a chance to talk about Juneteenth, what it looks like. And I decided to do a talk for this corporation for the sites of culture empowerment, the role of intercollegiate athletics, historic Black college universities. So I did a little bit of the history of HBCUs, talked about them all. But in a lot of ways, being in this space, a lot of folks can relate to the SWAC with so many alumni in these corporations, and they were in this space as well. So I looked at a book that I'm writing, which looks at the 100 years of HBCU football at Southwestern Athletic Conference. And at this point, title is looking at the story of athletic defiance, remembrance, social political resilience, and social cultural relevance. I had a chance to frame it, as you can go to the next slide there, Drew, in Africana Studies, looking at the 6 conceptual categories of systems of studies for African people, places, and culture. So the purpose of the presentation, as you can see directly here, talks about that from that perspective. And so in this framework of these 6 conceptual categories, and some will say 7, in terms of the last one is how do you talk about this in such a way of how does it free us? And I'm talking about liberation among just being free beyond what we think about Juneteenth. But there's the social structure that looks at this from a perspective where other folks look at us as Black people. Then you have the governance structure, which looks at how we look at each other. So that's kind of the lens that I talked about. You can go into that next framework. But I got a chance to connect it while I was at Texas Southern. There's a uniqueness about Prairie View A&M University that I thought really fit this topic after I was able to share it. And I connected with Texas Southern in the latter part. I won't necessarily have time for this show to do that. But as the institution of Prairie View established in 1876, many people may know by now, and if they don't, it was literally founded on the grounds of a plantation, as we know, the place that held enslaved Africans in the U.S., specifically here in Texas, called Alta Vista. So one of its original names was that Alta Vista. So when you think about this commemoration in terms of where we are now, where it comes from, that connection of a place that held Africans in this U.S. And was notified of emancipation for these enslaved Africans. 2 years later, we do need to think about the time where you weren't talking about high-speed internet and social media platforms, obviously, even airplanes, in terms of what we think about them today in motor vehicles. So we will take the next slide and we'll start to kind of close it up. But I wanted to share that framing when you talk about Juneteenth, 1865, which marks the day when these enslaved Africans, people, not just slaves, but people. So I purposely don't say slaves or slavery. I talk about enslaved people, enslaved Africans, people that were trafficked from their country of origin, learned of the freedom following an announcement of the General Order Number 3 by the Union Army. This event was a catalyst for the Black community's push for education and self-improvement. Next slide, which ultimately led to African-American Black people fighting across this country, particularly in the state of Texas for this case, about building Prairie View A&M University, and then later Texas Southern University, looking at as extension in terms of Wiley University now, Wiley College then, where we heard so much of the great debaters. So just wanted to share a little bit of what I put out there from that perspective, and the connection that I started talking about from my HBCU sporting. Man, so many people are captivated by sports. It's easy to make that tie. So thank you for giving me a little time at the end of the show to share what I do in terms of when I have an opportunity beyond what we do on the show in the classroom to share that. Go ahead, Charles.
No, I appreciate you for sharing that, Dr. Cavil, and again for doing these AD rankings.
Don't hear you. We're not hearing you. Something.
Oh,
I hear him.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
You have something while he's working on that, Drew?
I can hear him. Can you hear
maybe
me?
It's me on my side.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear me, Charles?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Charles.
No, I want to thank you for putting that out with regards to Juneteenth. I mean, that's very important information for our audience to hear, and I'm glad you brought that to the forefront, as well as the AD rankings, which I think has captivated the audience as well. I want to shout out Travis Jerome. He's already put something out on his social media platform with regards to AD Ashley Robinson becoming the AD of the year, Dr. Cavil's rankings. I'm sure he's going to put something out there tomorrow as well. But just appreciate the hard work that goes into that ranking system and whatnot, that I think has really captivated the audience and gives a different perspective and unique perspective on how to look at your athletic director, your vice president for intercollegiate athletics in terms of what they're doing on your respective campuses.
No doubt. Any last thought that you want to share, Drew?
As a data nerd myself, Dr. Cavil, right, and somebody who's put together different studies, polls, rankings, and everything like that, the time that it takes to put something together like this, because I know, Dr. Cavil, from having to do this stuff like this before, some of the data that you need for your ranking is not readily and easily available. And sometimes you have to pull teeth. Sometimes you have to make phone calls and shoot emails and everything like that. and hope that you get the response that you need. So just the simple fact of pulling it together, be it by yourself or be it with students, or you lead the charge with students, well, just pulling that together. And I hope you're able to get yourself a crew together enough, because I would love to see a skinny version of this at the Division II and the NAIA level, because there are a lot of good athletic directors at both of those levels. And Dr. Cavil, the significance of this year, I joke with Ashley about this, when he was on, but the fact that this is one additional thing when that athletic director goes and talk to his or her president, goes and talk to his or her alumni, his or her boosters and supporters and fans, and heck, even coaches, to show that, number one, it gives respect to that entire program, from the student managers all the way up to the athletic trainers, athletic communication coaches, assistants, secretaries, whatever you want to call them. It shows that somebody respects that program. Yeah, that athletic director, he or she's name may be on the thing, but Ashley is say what he want to, and anybody who you had on the list, they didn't do all that by themselves, and they know that, and they pass, and most of them, the good ones, pass that down to their people. And I'm pretty sure Ashley will be in there tomorrow thanking his people for helping put him in that position. So yeah, we need this at the Division II level.
I didn't want to announce that on there because he'll be ready for it to come. But I'm sending him something so he can take all those folks out to eat on behalf of the Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So he will get award this year. As we move forward, we'll continue to do that and try to add on it. So you're absolutely right. And as we got the number and worked that up, I told him that, and he was excited. And he always celebrates his folks, but now I'm helping him do that. With that being said, so thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, come from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. That'll do it for the athletic year officially in so many different ways. We finished with track, finished with baseball in terms of HBCUs, all sports, spring meetings, and now we finalize it with the AD award. So we'll get ready as things start back up, as we got Drew getting ready to give us that information in regards to the media days. They're in front of us, and it's time to start it off as we start seeing who's going to be prepared to put themselves in a position. And I take your charge. We will add a mid-major list. We'll do that in separate framework. We'll add that for last year to make sure we do a top list for the mid-majors, we like to call it over here.
Yeah. 1 week left. Will we see some movement, Dr. Cavil? We have 11 days.
You got 11 days and counting. I'm looking. It's gotten quiet, so I don't know if some people running some numbers, trying to make sure they can get it done or whatever. But you're right. That July 1st date is moving. We've got that July date interesting because it's June 30th, essentially, where a lot of folks opt in. That's one of the sides that we're looking at, the Division I level. But what you're talking about is the conference churning. Will we see some teams moving from different levels? We'll see what that looks like. We'll certainly keep our eyes out there on that July 1st date. It's about 11 days, so if it's going to come out, we should hear about it pretty soon. It's gotten quiet out there, so maybe things will stay quiet in the HBCU churning, but maybe not. With that being said, again, I want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. That'll do it for this week. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, A.D. Drew, and the rest of the BCSN crew that finds a way to show us love. You know, we're here Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil. That's Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab and YouTube on Facebook and YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Course.
Drew.
Lecture.
Dismiss.
Drop a light, everybody. We'll holler. Oops.